This one's gonna be the best episode.
Do you have your sax ready? Because you need to do the intro.
No, did you know that's actually a recording? I don't play my sax every time. The
What?
intro. Yeah.
You lazy sack of shit. All right, so let's All right, let's improvise.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so
You know, I
are we?
can improvise on the saxophone.
Uh, do you have it out?
No, but I can turn the keyboard on real quick.
What?
I have a piano keyboard right next to me here.
Oh, can you play the Taylor Swift thing?
Yeah, just let me move this baby thing out of the way. Let me move these baby things out from being on top of it.
Are they things
fast,
for the
'cause,
baby, or are they just tiny things?
They're things for the baby. All right, taking the dust cover off of this bad boy. Fire up the old. All right. Yeah. That's pretty
All
good,
right.
yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, we should do that every episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
Making
anyway,
luck. A
the
Dominion podcast.
It's a thing. I forget the rest.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is the mythical follow-up to our mythical Q&A episode.
Yeah, we just had some extra stuff.
So
And figured make a supplemental episode out of it, yeah? A
yeah,
bonus
right.
episode.
Definitely. So this is Q&A 1 was the thing we did, and then we have so much stuff that people still wanted to know, questions even that came follow up after it. So this is
Yeah.
Q&A 1.5, right? This is
Yeah.
not the first one, and it's not really the second one yet. This is
Yeah.
somewhere in between.
Yeah. It's like somewhere in between.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the first question that should we talk about a kingdom or nah, screw it.
What? I don't care.
That's
No one
like a,
listens to that anyway.
yeah, that's a dumb segment. Nobody actually listens to that part. People just
Yeah.
mouse through it. Anyway, so
Yeah.
the first one comes from Mr. Ed Monis. And the question is, how did Adam, Jake, and Wandering Winder get started playing Dominion? And how long have you been playing? And I want to say that I'd like to say that it was Adam's fault that we got here. But to be honest, all three of us share the blame equally. Any one of us could have stopped it from getting this far like several times before we got to this point. But I really think it's taken on a life of its own now, and there's not really any turning back. So how long have we been playing? I understand why you'd ask that, but the question doesn't actually make sense anymore. What I mean by that is to remember that language, when you think about it and distill it, is comprehension. That's what language is, and that's what language does, and that's what comprehension is too. Comprehension can't exist without language, and language can't exist without comprehension, and questions can't exist without either. So that kind of means that in a Q&A episode, when comprehension fails us, so too shall language. So how long have we been playing? We are playing, and that's not really a direct answer, but I don't mean we're playing currently. I mean we are playing. Playing are we. We are playing, and I miss my family.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Same.
right. So the next one, hopefully that gets that. So Ed Moonis also wants to ask, do you have a kingdom that captures for you what you consider the quintessential Dominion competition, like the best quintessential kingdom and analysis for Dominion at the competitive level? And we do. And it
Yeah, like
actually
I saw this question, like the first thing that came to my mind was was this thing.
yeah.
Yeah, so like there was, I think it was Chapel,
Yeah.
right?
Chapel.
And, Village.
Village, and Market Village,
Yeah, King's Court.
King's
and
Court,
King's Triumphal
Bandit Worker,
Village.
Yeah. And Royal
Village of the
Village.
Realm. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And then I think there was
Duplicate,
Wandering Winder.
Wandering Winder,
And,
Gold.
Yeah, with gold. And
the trash randomizer that comes in the first edition base set.
yeah, before they give you the mat, you
Right.
can't play with the second edition.
Yeah.
And then I think it was what else was it?
What did we have? There was
Village
Black Market,
Village.
Bishop,
and Village.
Village
yeah,
too.
Village.
Yeah.
I think was that 10. I think we need one more.
Yeah.
Ruin Village.
Ruined
Village.
Market Village. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Our next question comes from Jacques. What common mistake do you think is the most serious or harmful one? What do you think?
Buying potion.
Yeah, potions are dumb. You can't
Yeah.
even like. It's not even a village. Like that's dumb.
Yeah, I know. Actually, like the crazy thing is, I couldn't really keep a straight face while I was answering this. I want to like step away from the 0.5-ness of this episode for a second. I'm actually like semi-serious about this. I'm joking. Like there's obviously sometimes you buy potion, but I will say buying potion to get the card that costs potion is probably the thing that I think is the most like common mistake people make. That's like seriously game cost, like a big problem with their strategy.
Yeah, it's almost as
okay.
bad as buying Ambassador.
Yeah, right. Ever. So jumping
Yeah.
back into the 0.5s.
Oh yeah.
0.5-ness. All right.
Well,
go
hold on.
ahead,
I don't even know what you mean by that. But my answer to this
Yeah, me
question
neither.
is the common mistake that's the worst one is probably I would say it's buying too many villages because like if you think about it, like let's say you're playing this game with physical cards and you're using the Christmas tree method to track your actions. There's just so many ways you can use that and or really abuse it to make it look like you have more actions than you really should. So then you're just you're gonna lose games if you don't take advantage of this, because now you see people buying all these villages that they don't actually need because they can just use the Christmas tree method to squeeze a few more actions out of the cards they already have.
Yeah, people
Now-
are buying villages so that they have actions in order to play actions. But we've talked about before how building your deck in a more aggressive and greedy way, where you just get a bunch of terminals and you play them even if you don't have the actions to play them, is a really strong way to build your deck. We got into this when we talked about Renaissance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've even seen people in a competitive tournament setting just play all their terminals and I don't even care. I just
Yeah.
let them do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that's true. That's actually happened. Now, I'm not going to give away my secrets on the podcast here, but I'm just going to let you know. I'd say most people buy too many villages.
Yeah, I mean, you could use this mechanic where you have these actions to play your terminals, and then you respect that mechanic by buying things that give you actions so you can play your terminals, or you just play your terminals.
Yeah.
Give a big middle finger to the mechanic.
I mean, what's stopping me from putting my cards on the table and saying I play a smithy? Nothing.
Nothing is stopping you except being bad at Dominion, right? So
Yeah.
all right, this next question comes from AR Flutter. Note to self: remind AR Flutter to ask this. Oh, I wasn't supposed to read that part. Okay, how much water should I be drinking at every competitive level of Dominion?
Yeah. Let me hold on. Let me just take a drink of water real quick.
That's a great question, and the first thing I want to refer to while I'm answering it is the FDA's classic recommendation. We all know it. They say you drink 8 glasses an hour, and let's think about that. That 8 glasses an hour. It's a
mean,
good
that's-
starting point.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it's not anywhere close to what I drink, right?
Yeah, I don't think it tells the whole story. That number that they're talking about, that's for everyone. That's for all people playing at every level of Dominion. And casual players, it should do you just fine. But the FDA isn't really thinking about what it takes to get really good at Dominion. And I don't think that's enough water. Honestly, if you have time to be keeping track of how much water you drink, you're definitely not drinking enough water. In fact, if you are ever thinking about anything or talking about anything without drinking water, if it's not coming through a mouthful of water, you should just be drinking more water.
Yeah, man. For sure. But I mean, you have a great point. But I think just as important as the quantity of water that you drink is also the quality of water that you drink.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so I have this cup here. Let me rattle the straw here. I have this cup that is actually empty because I've been I've been drinking a lot of water because I'm good at Dominion. Um, but the water from this, it comes from my refrigerator. There's a filter in that refrigerator, and
That-
I buy the fancy kind. So
Yeah, where you
water
don't
tastes
actually
good.
have like a water softener or anything. You just have this big tank of water in your basement that you pour Dasani bottles into once a month,
Yeah.
right?
So speaking of Dasani, Dasani is the best water.
I'm
Okay.
inclined to agree with this. Yes.
So I actually did a double blind taste test of waters a few years ago. Yeah, I also didn't tell the water it was being tested in the name of
Right.
scientific integrity, of course. But I did this test of many different brands of water, and a lot of them claimed to be pretty good. After everything shook out, Dasani was at the top of the pack, followed by Smart Water. And I just want you to know at the bottom, Fiji got a 7 out of 10, as in like rank 7 out of a possible 10, so that's pretty bad.
Hmm.
And second to last was Aquafina. That's just disgusting. I don't know how people drink it. And then finally, at the very bottom, you know what water is just the worst?
What?
It's like the Scout of bottled water. It's
Oh
Evian.
wow.
It's
Okay.
disgusting. Like it tastes like
Unless
dirt.
unless they want to sponsor us, in which case it's amazing.
In which case they.
Oh
Or-
wow.
I might have to edit that out. That was.
Yeah, especially if they decide to sponsor us. But yeah, I'm really surprised about the Fiji thing. I was curious about that. Uh,
So here's the thing.
rank.
Fiji is just a spring water,
Yeah,
right? It's just they take water from nature and they put it in a bottle, and like that's an okay place to
that sounds
start.
like
I
a
mean,
good place to get parasites.
if I was dying of thirst, I would probably drink Fiji instead of dying. Like Fiji's like the big money of waters.
Yeah, if you're dying of thirst, you're gonna play big money.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a good, flavorful water, you're really looking at vapor distilled waters. And so if you're going to climb up to like, fourth rank, then you're going to need to start vapor distilling your water. But the thing is, like just H2O, I've had RODI water. Like this is just H2O. I've needed it for a fish tank back when I thought I was going to have corals in my tank. And like that, it doesn't even taste that great. If you want to get really good flavorful water, you need to start adding minerals. And Dasani adds just a little bit of salt for taste. And that's why it's a
Do
superior
they
water.
really?
Yes, that's true.
So like, I assume that all of this is like, you actually did this study and like this actually all happened.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Knowing you, I don't doubt that doesn't surprise me at all. And like that's a really good example of you going way too far with it. But telling me
What's
things
that supposed to mean?
but telling me things that I didn't even know I wanted to know. So
You just wait till you get to some of these later questions, Jake.
yeah. So the next one, this is from WW, which of course means Wilhelm Watson.
Yeah.
5-time raffle winner. Congratulations, Mr. Wilhelm.
Yeah.
So he asks us, if you could be any color, what color would you be and why? And I thought about this, and there were some answers I wanted to give. My favorite color is blue. I like to work blue into everything I can. Half my wardrobe is blue, but realistically, I'm gonna have to choose a flesh tone so that I can continue to operate in the human world without drawing any unnecessary attention.
That's probably for the
so,
best.
Yeah, I have to choose a flesh tone because the question doesn't specify any other extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. Good call.
But, what would you do?
Well, I mean, red is just the best color. It's like
Okay.
strictly better than all other colors. So yeah, that's my favorite.
All right. Next one comes from Mr. Bobby DJ 18, and he says, "What is your least favorite board game?" And I'm gonna refer you back to the first question we answered because I
Yeah.
still miss my family.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. That's it. Okay, so the next question, this also comes from Bobby DJ18. It says, "Why does Adam not league or really even ladder?" Um, there's, I guess this is the place to answer this question, right?
Yeah, this is the
Um,
correct episode.
the correct. Yeah, this is the correct episode. There are a lot of rumors going around, right? Why does Adam not ladder? Why does Adam not play in the league? First of all, I used to play in the league. I don't anymore. It's been a very long time since I have. And if I'm just going to be honest with you, the reason I don't play in the league is because, and also the reason I don't play rated games is just because I'm afraid of what would happen if I did. Like, what if I lost? What if I was really bad? Which is likely, right? I mean, I'm not any good. I don't like ever play Dominion anymore, so like
Yeah.
I've got to be pretty bad at it.
Well,
I mean,
you'd also have to actually like play Dominion at that point, which would be a huge departure from your usual routine at this point, right?
well, really, I mean, it takes a lot of time to do that, and what would I rather be doing with my time? I would rather just uh, make content about Dominion rather than play Dominion. So
Yeah.
like it definitely comes at the expense of me playing Dominion, and you know at this point like I'm just kind of resting on my laurels of like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, I had like a couple of high profile wins back then, so like I'm probably still okay at the game, but like I don't want to ever have to prove that because first of all it's work, but second of all like I probably am bad at this point. I would rather just sit here on a podcast and just like talk about how great I am at Dominion without ever actually proving any of it or playing any games of Dominion whatsoever. And you know that's really evidenced by the fact that you know on the YouTube channel there are really no games that are shown that I'm playing in at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, this comes from Nathan Smith, and he asked a really interesting question that got us doing a lot of math.
Yeah.
And
love math.
yeah, so he asked, which is better in a money density deck, 2 silvers or
A
he
copper
said
and a
something-
copper.
Yeah, a copper
Yeah.
and a copper is what he
Yeah.
said. Two
Yeah.
silvers or 2 coppers. And this one is really tough, mostly because they're both really, really bad cards. So,
Yeah.
like, the difference between them is kind of difficult
It
to
doesn't
think
really
about.
matter, right? Yeah.
Right. Technically, if we're being technically correct, the silver gives you more money, right? But it's easy. It's so easy to take that out of context and forget how bad it is. I'm going to say that what am I taking? 2 coppers or 2 silvers? It depends on my opponent, right? I want to look at their shuffle it rating. And if I'm up against some noob that I can just beat with silver in my deck, I'm going to hem and haw and take the silvers, right? But if I'm really facing a top player who's like really close to the top of the leaderboard, I know I'm going to need to adjust my play style. I'm going to need to pivot a little bit, and I'm going to take the coppers instead.
Yeah, really, like if you're playing a random noob, you don't want them to understand the secrets of high level Dominion play, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's why you would get the silvers as kind of like a smokescreen. But like if it's someone you know from like the Discord or like the forums, like a name that you recognize,
yeah.
and really having your name recognized, I mean, obviously that's the only way to have any Dominion skill. They've already know about it though, so like there's no reason to hide anything. You might as well just get the coppers.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the next one, Mr. Trivial Knot asked a question that I think really gets at the heart of like everything we do here in Making Luck, between the YouTube videos and
Yeah.
the podcast.
It's really the point of everything.
Yeah. So he asks us, how can we get worse at Dominion? And I just want to tell you, you've come to the right place. You just keep listening to Making Luck, and we're gonna take care of everything else.
Yeah, we work hard to give you the quality content that answers questions just like this.
And helps you get worse at Dominion every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, question number 55. This was asked by everyone. What is the best and worst thing about having a newborn? I mean, you know, obviously I have one of those. Jake, I don't unless there's something you want to share. I don't think you do, right?
No, not these days.
Okay. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So as for the best thing, well, I gotta tell you, actually earlier today, the day we're recording this, I actually did my taxes, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's gonna be a really tough bar to clear.
As far as the best thing.
Yeah, but as for the worst thing, let's talk about what happens when you give a newborn baby solid food for the first time. So, Jake, remember when I showed you that video earlier of Parker eating?
I'm trying to block it out, and you're not helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do. I remember that you showed me this video. It was like the first time he had solid food, and I actually threw up in my mouth during this, and I believe Parker threw up in his mouth as well. But it's hard to tell because I think that Parker was just constantly throwing up through the whole video because that's what it looked like was happening.
There was a lot of food everywhere. Yeah, and
If you want to
someone
call
has
that food, it was food at some point, I guess. Right? Like,
So, I mean, you have to clean that up, but I mean, when you're done with that, the cleanup is not finished. Like, it's not even close because, in 6 hours after that, the immature digestive system that he has is encountering things it's never seen before. Because really, like, if in the wild, before we had all this stuff, he would still be on a completely liquid diet because, he doesn't have any teeth. But no, I have a food processor, so I can take vegetables and overcook them and then put them in there. And now the texture and the smell and the quantity of all of his output has really gone through some changes. So like you may think that these changes, you may think that, oh well, you change his diaper and then you clean him up and then that's it. The cleanup is done. No. We don't use disposable diapers. We use cloth diapers. So we had to install a bidet on our toilet so that we can remove the solid portions of his output before washing the diapers. So like this is peanut butter texture, nice and sticky. So there's really no way to get it off using the bidet without reaching your hand in poop water, and then like the bidet kind of sprays poop water all over the bathroom. So that's the best part about having a newborn. So anyway, the next question.
yeah, I'm glad that I timed this right. I was starting to gag a little bit, so I actually had to mute you through most of that to preserve myself. So I'm glad that I was able to figure out when you were done talking about that. So
Nice. So how do you evaluate how good cards are?
this is interesting, and I think that there's a lot of really great resources to give us some like hard hitting heuristic data points on this.
I mean, first of all, there's judgment matches, right? I mean, if you really want to know which of two cards is better, you take a kingdom and you force two cards in it, and then you just tell each player you can't buy one of them, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
that'll give you the definite answer. Like, there's really no questioning the validity of whatever result comes from that, right?
Oh, 100%.
But I mean, there are a lot of different ways you can do it, and really, it's all just stats. It's all numbers,
Right.
So like you can look at maybe for example gain rates from like just a selection of games involving like really top players, and remember what I said earlier about what it takes to be a top player. But like, why
Right,
would you
gotta
use a stat like,
mix.
yeah?
Yeah.
Why would you use a stat like that though when you can just like use that plus all of the other stats and just like kind of mash them together so that you get like the best of everything?
Yeah, give
So
each car a score of some kind, right?
yeah, so like there's a lot of different things you can do. One of the ones that I really like, and actually it's a little surprising that other people aren't doing this, but you can just take every letter on the card and then you can assign it to the A equals 1, B equals 2, all the way out, and then you just add it together. And so
Yeah.
like it's a great representation in like a heuristic mathematical form of the idea that more complicated cards are better. So like I remember when Renaissance came out, a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, I figured out Dominion. I can just buy Renaissance cards and win." And then also
Yeah.
you couple that with the idea that, Donald X said, there's really no more simple cards to do because all the simple cards have been done. So everything you're going to see in the later expansions is going to be more complex.
Yeah.
And so
That sounds like a thing he would say.
Yeah, so like it's very obvious. It follows logically that you can use that to see how good a card is. So possession is just a real powerhouse. There's so much text on that card.
Yeah, and procession too, and that also gets at the other part of this heuristic you were talking about, because these two cards share a lot of letters in their name. So they're going to have a very similar score that you give them based on the quantity of text in their name and the quality of text in their name, and also what they do.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm not looking at something like alms, which is just
Yeah, that's not enough
pathetic.
letters.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really pathetic. It's
Acting
like
Troop is the worst village in the game for a reason. It has so little text on it. There's just nothing going on there.
yeah, and it begins with A, which is just a really poor start when
Yeah,
you think
Adam.
about it. Yeah,
Here's
man.
Adam.
Yeah. So this heuristic, like that one, for example, you can easily just like compute it or just maybe just approximate it on the fly.
Yeah.
But if you have more time, then you can add all of them together. So like another application of this, what you can do like to really help you decide in a game of Dominion how good things are, is something we talked about with Ambassador.
Oh,
So like
totally. Yes.
so like you could listen to that whole episode and like try and stay awake through it, but who the fuck wants to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to actually listen to an episode of Making Luck from start to finish, and I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to just anyway, so but what you can do is you can take the one real valuable piece of information in there, and remember we're just looking at stats.
Yeah.
Is you want to take that 85% number. Remember we said, yeah, I get Ambassador in like 85% of games.
Yeah.
So then you can just use a random number generator to give you, with 85% odds, tell you if you want to go for Ambassador. And just roll it at the beginning of every game you see with Ambassador.
Tells
and
you
then,
whether or not to get it.
Yeah, and that's really worked for me really well.
Yeah, if you do that, you're going to win 100% of the time, clearly. And if you don't, you've just done it incorrectly, clearly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a really good way to do it. The other thing you can do to get this heuristic number, just that you can then plug into your random number generator, is actually bypass all of that. Just get onto FDS or the Dominion Discord and talk about any given card and ask them, hey, how often should I buy this? Like, what percentage of the time? Take the first answer you get, just plug that into your RNG, and go to town. You're going to climb up the leaderboard like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Or,
So,
I mean, you could ask us too. I'll give you a percentage number, sure.
55.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good supplemental, right? We
Yeah.
did okay. Some questions,
Yeah, totally.
some answers.
I think it was quite good indeed. We're ready to pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah. How about I lead us out with some musical stylings on my keyboard over here? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, and there's a kingdom that we're. No, I don't. We'd have to play Dominion. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Play
Yeah,
the music.
I don't want to do that. Okay.
Right, yeah.
So here we go. Making luck. A Dominion podcast.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out if it was over.